Look at these steel bars. Do you know what they will be made into in Pakistan? To ensure their trucks can use leaf springs, small workshops have started using these steel plates for manufacturing. By using a die to limit the length on the cutting machine, they could control the required amount of steel plate more precisely. Despite their outdated equipment, the small workshop had many workers and strong teamwork. Thanks to the coordination and cooperation of many craftsmen, they quickly met the necessary requirements. Next, they heated one end of the steel plate to a high temperature. The main purpose was to apply heat treatment, reducing hardness and making the material easier to process. Once the end reached the required temperature for shaping, they used a stamping machine to create a slight curve at the end. This helped the bending machine to shape both ends of the steel plate into the needed coils. This step was also important for connecting the springs to other parts of the vehicle. Because the bending process required very high temperatures, they had to separately heat the other end. Although the process had to be repeated twice, it ensured the flexibility and durability of the coils after bending. Thanks to the skilled techniques of the workers, the ends of the steel plates were now processed to standard. Leaf springs are made from multiple layers stacked on top of each other, so a hole must be drilled in the middle using a bench drill. This hole is crucial for securing the layers with bolts. Even though the steel plates already had a basic shape, leaf springs typically have a specific curvature. Before continuing with the second forming stage, the steel plates had to be evenly heated in a furnace for uniform heat treatment. After 10 minutes of heating, they used a press to straighten the steel, followed by a rolling machine to create the desired curve. Although most of the processing was done manually, the steps were fairly straightforward due to templates guiding the shaping process. Next, the shaped steel plates were quenched in oil. This not only increased their hardness and flexibility, but also cooled them quickly. However, at this stage, the steel's durability was still insufficient. To improve the load-bearing capacity of leaf springs, hardened steel needs to be treated using the RAM method. This process relieved internal stress, increasing both flexibility and overall strength. He used pliers to pick up the steel plates because the steel plates were still very hot. For plates with slight surface deformation, workers used hammers to straighten and align them perfectly. After careful quality inspection, it was time to assemble the steel plates. Bolts were used to secure the leaf spring sets. Even though the spring frames were made from tightly stamped steel plates, as long as they weren't loose, they wouldn't affect functionality. After assembling a full set of leaf springs, workers sprayed an anti-rust coating to prevent corrosion. This not only enhanced the overall appearance, but also made the specifications clearer. Once the surface was quickly painted using a mold, the final appearance process was complete. The finish had a shiny, polished look. And just like that, the leaf springs made entirely from steel plates were completed. So, what do you think of the craftsmanship of these Pakistani workers?